What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans special episode, Father's Day special episode. We're gonna get started with the.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
is
Cam Buford.
We got some good questions today.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
There's always room for improvement.
This is a big year for Tua to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
I'm not worried about him right now. I'm worried about Crawford. I'm trying to get that fight made.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy? I want to get some of this guy.
Of course, I want to fight all the guys. Of course, that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Once you finish him off, do you feel you get the credit and the respect you deserve there?
It really don't matter. I'm just on a mission to become the best, welterweight in the division. After I get him, I want to fight the next best guy, the next best guy, the next best guy. Then once I clear the division, I'm going to move up.
Think about it like this. The promoter pays the fighter. The fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works
for the promoter. Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the Fan
Oh my goodness
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
You were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
The real ones know what's going on, right?
Like you said, Pacific Northwest. So I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy for the
Cam, nobody.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's Big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
Yeah, what's good, fans? Hopefully you guys have enjoyed your Sunday. Those fathers out there, hopefully you guys enjoying your Father's Day as well. I actually got a chance to speak to my father, so I didn't know that I was going to have a chance to be able to do that, considering his condition. So I actually got to speak to him. So I'm excited. I'm excited, and I just want to chat with you guys, chat with the fans out there. I know we don't got no hoop going on. It's weird. NFL offseason is underway, so we don't got no NFL. I don't know if you're watching golf or hockey. Well, hockey season's over, so I don't know if watching the U.S. Open today, I don't even know what happened. But I want to give some content to some of the fans out there just to talk about what's going on. We do got some big news in the NBA, actually, per Adam Silver. As he mentioned, he was going to wait till after the NBA Finals to talk about the Ja Morant suspension, to go ahead and levy that down. So the Ja Morant suspension, if you watch the show, I had it going over 40 games. Hi, Dolly. Thanks for being a part of the show. Appreciate you for tuning in. I had it going over 40 games. So to get a 25 game suspension for Ja Morant, I was kind of surprised by that. I kind of thought that he got let off kind of easy. It is 3 times the suspension he got initially for 8 games. As we know, part of those 8 games was, they get him credit for time served, if you will, because he missed a couple games before he went to that treatment in Florida. So I was kind of very surprised actually that it was under 40 games. However, I didn't take in mind that Mikal Bridges got suspended for 30 games last season for a domestic dispute situation. Excuse me. Wasn't as ready as I thought it was. Excuse me. But Bridges got suspended for 30 games last season for a domestic violence incident, which obviously is far worse than what Ja Morant has done by flashing the guns once in the nightclub, second time in the car. Some can argue that he shouldn't have been suspended at all. Some have argued that he shouldn't be suspended at all. And I would like to refute those who making that argument. It's ridiculous. Um, the NBA has a code of conduct, whatever that is. I mean, again, Russell Westbrook was, I think he got fined for pushing a fan in Utah, if I remember correctly, screaming at a fan another time. So that for him not to be suspended, come on, guys, you're not thinking logically. Some people are making the comparison between him and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving simply just didn't want to capitulate to what the masses were saying. So he got fined for a stupid tax, but and suspended for just a couple weeks. I think it was less than 10 games, if I remember correctly. But what Ja Morant has done is as a face of a franchise, as a face of a potential face of the league, to have this happen twice. The one time, okay, the 8 games, man, kind of get your act together. I could see that. That was a slap on the wrist. But for 25 games, it's like for it to happen again in less than 2 months. Like this isn't last year. This wasn't his rookie year, and then here we are 2 years later. This was in 2-month time span. Like, dude, come on, you're not getting the message. We got to hit you hard. If you remember Gilbert Arenas, though it was a different scenario, he brought guns into the locker room, and since there's been it's been mandated that you cannot do that in the NBA. So that suspension was, I think, 50 games, if I remember correctly. So I was expecting definitely more than 40 games. What did you guys think? Let us know in the chat. Did you think it was warranted, the 25 games? Did you think it would have been more? You think it should have been less? Do you think he got the message? We'll talk more about this on Tuesday show with Cleveland. But do you think he got the message with that 25 game suspension? I don't know. Fortunately, he is able to, go in the locker room. He is able to be a part of around the team. They didn't say indefinite because they did have a number on it, but it's unclear as to if he's going to be on the sideline during these 25 games. Can he travel with the team? That's still unclear. But in this type of situation, where I've been screaming, these players need mentors. I've been screaming, these players need a support system. And I would hope that the team itself can offer the mentors. I don't know what they're doing in the background, but I think a lot of it, the weight, it carries more weight when it's a teammate that's giving you the lessons, that's talking to you about what's going on. I think that carries more weight than what the coaches say or somebody higher up in the organization. Just think of it as your time as a kid. If your parents told you something, it kind of went one ear out the other, right? You heard what they said, but you kind of had to see it for yourself most of. If you're like me, you had to see it for yourself. Or hear it from a buddy, hear it for somebody in your peer group that can talk to you in certain languages. So they have, not that their words mean more, but their approach is a little bit different than your parent. So if they listening to the coaches and somebody within the team organization, I'm not sure that's going to hit as hard as it would from a teammate, somebody that's been on the team, somebody that he knows and respects, who's been through this process before. That's why I think veterans are needed on these teams. Veterans are needed in the league to be mentors to their teammates. As you see, both teams in the NBA Finals had older guys, older veterans. Miami Heat had Udonis Haslem. They were an older team overall, but they had Udonis Haslem was a veteran on that squad. The Denver Nuggets had 3 of them: Ish Smith, Jeff Green, who actually got some time, DeAndre Jordan. Whatever you think about these guys' career, they're veterans in the league, and they can talk to Nikola Jokic. They can talk to Jamal Murray. They can talk to Michael J. Porter. They can talk to Bruce Brown. They can talk to these guys. We know KCP was a veteran. They could talk to these guys in their own language, on the team bus, on the team airplane, at the hotel, over dinner. They can talk to these players and get their message across about how you should be playing, how you should be acting, how you should be carrying yourself, how you should be conducting yourself. Because if you rely on the coach to do that, that's like the teacher telling you stop talking in the classroom versus your classmate said, I don't want to hear what you got to say and ignoring you. So there's a difference there. That not that their message is any different, but that message carries a little bit more weight because it's within your peer group. So I believe that they need mentors in the league. Hence, I think that's one of the things that the Grizzlies should do is try to pick up a. I'm gonna use Pat Beverly as an example. Try to pick up a Pat Beverly, not because he's a superstar, not because he plays good and he has a defensive focus. He's vocal leader on the team, on all the teams he's been on, but because he's a veteran in the NBA. Folks know who Patrick is and kind of what he's done, and he can speak to some of these guys about these situations. Ricky Rubio, another veteran within the league, Chris Paul, who just got traded to Phoenix. Those veterans in the league can oftentimes speak to the players in their language to make them hear the situation a little bit better. Fans, I'm gonna ask you guys, those of you guys who are on the show, I appreciate you guys for taking time on the show. But I want to know, what is the best lesson that your Father's Day or for Father's Day? What is the best lesson that you learned from your father? Is there a lesson? Is there a jewel, a nugget? Can you pick out one that really resonates with you and stuck with you throughout your life? Share it in the chat. Share it with us. Don't be afraid, because that's going to help somebody else. Maybe they didn't learn that lesson that your specific father has taught you. Maybe they didn't learn that lesson, and this is a chance to kind of help everybody kind of just get better. That's what we all should be wanting, everybody to get better in life. So please, in the chat, hit us up on Twitter @_voice of the fans, @_voice of the fans on Twitter. Let us know, what is the biggest or the best lesson that you have learned from your father. Let us know that lessons, and I promise I'll share it with everybody. Again, just as what I like to do is part of growth and development, is let's make everybody better. Let's make everybody around us better. Let's share knowledge so we all can get better. Once again, maybe you haven't been through some certain situations. Maybe this man who's listening to the podcast can speak to your certain situation. And again, I just mentioned how it's coming better from a peer than your parent, your father, your boss at work. Maybe this lesson you hear from somebody else, it'll hit a little different. So go ahead, don't feel shame. Share the best lesson you learned from your father that you think everybody hasn't learned yet. There's been a trade in the NBA. Bradley Beal leaving the Washington Wizards. He waived his no trade clause to go to the Phoenix Suns. So I guess we know Phoenix coach is not afraid to pay. Hedge fund investor Matt Isbia, former Michigan State alum. So he's hit it big and not afraid to make some noise in the NBA. He came in and he fired Monty Ellis. I didn't think that was such a great decision, but he went ahead and made that happen. Now he traded for Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's going to be making over $50 million here in a couple of years. So he has a pretty hefty contract. But Ishbia, like I said, hedge fund investor, has a few dollars in his pocket, is not afraid to spend that money, isn't afraid to make waves. So what do you guys think of this trade for Bradley Beal, who's been hurt, had his share of injuries, and spent his share of time in the training room? So what do you guys think of Bradley Beal? They sent Chris Paul and Landry Shamet. They were able to keep their center Andre Ayton. I think they're going to need his size. We see with Golden State try to make their moves, and they got rid of their size. That really hurt them in the playoffs. So regardless of what you think of DeAndre Ayton, regardless if you don't like his 18 and 10 or not, they need that size. And he has potential. He's still a young dude at 25 years old, I believe. They need that size in the in the paint. They're going to need that size in the playoffs. They got center. They got Jokic in the Western Conference, so they got centers that they're going to have to play against. As you know, they got one of their competitions is going to be the Lakers and AD, alternate Davis. They got him to contend with. So there's they need that size. So I wouldn't be so quick to get rid of DeAndre Ayton as many people are saying, hey, 18 and 10 isn't enough. We need more. I agree with that. You do need more. You probably need somewhere around 25 and 14 on an average on a nightly basis. I agree with that. However, you can't, it's not easy to replace 7'2", 260, whatever he is, and a youthful 7'2", 260. So if Frank Vogel, the new head coach of the Phoenix Suns, can get something out of Ayton, that I put that on Vogel. As we know, the relationship with Monte Williams went sour, and that size you can't coach. I mean, that size you can't coach up. You can't teach it. So I think it was wise. It's wise to keep DeAndre Ayton. Adding Bradley Beal to the mix. Now, part of the problem was part of Phoenix problem in the playoffs was they were too reliant on their stars, Booker and Kevin Durant. By trading away Chris Paul, by trading away Landry Shamet, that doesn't do anything to fill their depth. So they're going to have to go on obviously they're going to the boneyard. They're going to have to go to the scrap heap and get some players. Now this is highly reliant on the scouting of their scouting department. Go find somebody, i.e. Miami Heat, an undrafted player, undrafted free agent that can actually produce, that can come off the bench and score. That's the job of your scouting department, is to find these guys who can make a difference on your team. So I expect they're not going to have a lot of money, so they're going to be in the boneyard paying. Maybe they can pay a couple guys a vet minimum. But what their problem was in the playoffs is they didn't have enough depth on their team. Booker. I mean, they wore the tires on Booker. They wore the tire off of Kevin Durant. We know Kevin Durant is getting up there in age. It's kind of weird to say, right? Kevin Durant getting up there in age, but he is. He's had his fair share of injuries, as has Bradley Beal. Do you guys think Bradley Beal has just been a good player on a bad team? Do you think he's played? Do you think can make a difference on a good team? That's something we still haven't yet to see, because not Miami, but the Washington Wizards haven't played any significant basketball. I mean, they went to the second round years ago with him and John Wall. We know where John Wall is now. Well, he's nowhere, at home like you and I. But they haven't spent a lot of time together. They haven't. Bradley Beal hasn't played any significant basketball other than the 1 year they make it to the second round of the playoff. Sure, he got a jumper. Sure, he can get to the hoop. Sure, he's known for getting buckets. That's why he got a huge contract. But none of those games matter. None of those games matter that he played for the Washington Wizards. Can he be more than just a good player on a bad team? So even though they got a complement of players, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant coming up second, and then we got Bradley Beal joining the squad. And if you just pair them, that's a nice trio. Pair them with DeAndre Ayton, and you get somebody else who can play some defense, because neither one of those three guys I named play any defense. So if they can get your guy, does Jay Crowder now want to come back? What was the problem with Jay Crowder? Was his problem with Monte Williams? Did he not want to show up for Monte Williams last year? Maybe they can bring Crowder back, but I think Crowder's going to want something like $20 million if I know where he stood. But if they can get a defender like Crowder who can play that, then oh my goodness, that's a solid starting five right there. Again, you get a little bit more out of Ayton, not the 18 and 10. He wakes up, he's going to give you 18 and 10. If we can get 22 and 14, 22 and 13 out of him more on a consistent basis, and now you add Bradley Beal, another 25-point scorer per game. And you got KD on there. That's I just rattled off 80 points. 80 points. You get that fourth guy or that fifth guy to score 10 to 20 points a game. They should be averaging over 100 points a game. But they're going to have to. The scouting department is going to have to step up. The scouting department is going to have to earn their money and find some of these undrafted free agents that's out there that's ready to play ball, ready to contribute, looking for an opportunity, looking for a contract. They need 2 or 3 of those guys. Obviously, they still got campaign to come off the bench and give them some minutes, but they're going to need 2 or 3 guys, another shooter, a 3-and-D guy to spell Kevin Durant and/or Booker and/or Poole, Bradley Beal, excuse me, when he gets tired. They're going to need another kind of 3-and-D guy, and they're going to need a low post defender, a low post guy, and a low post defender to spell Andre Ayton. So Phoenix's scouting department is going to have to earn their money right now. This is their time to go to work. I'm not sure how many draft picks they got. I didn't even research that. Excuse me. This is off the cuff, fans. This is just a weekend special. I want to give you guys some content. So check us back on Tuesday. I'll know what their draft situation is like. I don't think they can imagine they have many draft picks. I'm sure they sent them. I'm sure Washington asked for some draft picks. I'm almost positive. So don't quote me on that. But the scouting department, there's players out there who want to get in the NBA. Miami Heat is evidence that you can find some undrafted free agents. Gabe Vincent, are guys that were undrafted and they produced. They were in the NBA Finals. So the scouting department of the Phoenix Suns are you guys are on the clock. Our eyes are on you. As I mentioned, fans, again, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Appreciate you guys as listening. Those who've been in the chat, I appreciate that as well. Let me know where you're listening from. I'm hailing right now. I'm down here in Alabama, of all places. I'm recording the show from Alabama. So where are you listening to the show? How are you listening to the show? Where are you tuning? Are you on working? Are you working out? How are you tuning into the show? Is just a Sunday night where there's nothing else on, no other content, and you just tuning into the voice of the fans. We appreciate you. We love you. Respect you for that. But just how are you listening? Where are you listening from? We appreciate that. I see I got some cutting bloggers. He must be Russian because I can't read these letters. It looked like Russian writing to me. But thank you guys for tuning in to the voice of the fans. As I mentioned, I wanted to talk about fathers lessons from your father. What's the biggest lesson that you learned? What's the biggest lesson that you learned from your father that you'd like to share with the group? I appreciate the best lesson I learned is who not to be. Unfortunately, my father was into some different. He chose to live a certain lifestyle that wasn't conducive for children, wasn't conducive for growth and development, wasn't conducive for stability in the household. So I learned who not to be. That's what I learned. But what are some of the lessons that you learned? That's the best. That's the one that stuck with me. It's kind of be something different. Don't be a chip off the whole block, because that wasn't really nothing. It wasn't a sight for anybody. I wouldn't be benefiting anybody if that was the case. You guys probably wouldn't be talking to me or listening to me on the show right now had I chose to go that route. So I'd like to know, what are some of the lessons that you learned? Another thing that happened today, happened last night, was that fight. Tim Tszyu knocked out Carlos Ocampo, got rid of him in one round, folks. Did you guys see that fight? Did you tune into that fight? I mean, that was an impressive bout. Ocampo, one of the guys, the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, he pounded Ocampo for 12 rounds and never was able to get rid of him. Tim Tszyu, in one round, Tim Tszyu dispatched of Ocampo in impressive fashion. And then he asked you, what is my motherfucking name? Because he's talking about he wants Charlo now. He wants Jermell Charlo, who has all the belts. Tim Tszyu is coming for the belts. So that's going to be an impressive fight that maybe, if I remember correctly, has to happen He's a mandatory now, and that has to happen before the end of October. So that's a fight that we're going to see by the end of the year. We do have a fight coming up next weekend, or excuse me, have a fight coming up next month, the Crawford Spence fight. But the fight, this has been a great year for boxing. It's been good fight after good fight after good fight, and now again, we see if you watched the fight last night with Tim Tszyu, son of Costa Tszyu, he has that punching power. He has that punching power. Not to say that Jamel Charlo ought to be worried, but we know he's coming with some punching power. He's coming with an attitude. He's coming with some energy. He's coming with something in his pants that's gonna make him fight. He wants that those belts that Charlo has, and so we'll actually see if he has enough stones to kind of get that job done. Because last night he came in there impressively and got rid of Ocampo, like I said, in one round. And boy, oh boy, was that impressive. What you guys think about that fight if you saw it? That's somebody to keep your eyes on, Tim Tszyu. And we won't see him again until he's in the ring with Jamel Charlo. And again, that fight needs to happen unless Charlo just going to vacate his belts. That need to happen by October 31st. And I don't know if you know Charlo like I know Charlo. He's not giving up his belts for anything. So he's gonna be ready to fight. He had the hand injury. I think he was supposed to fight in December, if I remember correctly, and he had a hand injury where it's been maybe January the hand injury was reported. So he's been healing from that. And when you're healing, I mean, you can't do a lot of sparring, obviously, because that's your hand. But he can be in shape and just take the couple months to get that hand strong and to fight again. We'll see how that transpires. Lou Williams, three-time favorite for the Los Angeles Clippers, or three-time sixth man of the year for the Los Angeles Clippers, decides he calls it quits today. Early this morning, he said he's done. So, what do you guys think of Lou Williams' career? It's not a Hall of Fame career, but will you remember Lou Williams more for departing the Clippers during the bubble to go to Magic City and get some chicken wings? Or will you remember him more for doing his thing on the basketball court as a six man a year award? He was a pure bucket, buddy. He can get buckets on anybody. Great. He has some great stories that covering the Clippers. He was a great interview. But what's your thoughts on Lou Williams' career? How would Lou Williams be remembered in the annals of time? Well, how would he be remembered? Basketball fans, you tell me. Let me know what you think about Lou Williams and how he will be remembered, because he had a stellar career. Again, he didn't have any championships, but everybody, he said it himself, he's an underground GOAT. He's your favorite basketball player's favorite basketball player. That's Lou Williams, because he gets buckets. He's smooth. He has skill. He has a great game. And again, he's a pure bucket. So coming off the bench, he can end up the game with 23 points easy, because he just knows how to maneuver around the basketball court and get his buckets up. So congratulations to Lou Williams for a stellar career. The only question I have for fans is, how will you remember Lou Williams? Would it be as a Clipper when he left the bubble to go get some chicken wings? The rumor was he went to a family death that he was going to in Atlanta, so he just stopped by Magic City and went and grabbed some chicken wings. I gotta see what those wings are. I gotta get out there and do a grade. I've been to Atlanta a few different times. I gotta go out there and get a grade on those chicken wings. Is it worth the pit stop that Lou Williams made? I got to be able to tell you guys that, man. So my next trip to Atlanta, I'm committing to stopping at Magic City to get some chicken wings just to see how good they were. Not a strip guy. I never been a strip club guy. So that's a good line. He had the two living girlfriends. Yes, that was early in his career. You have to give Lou Williams props for that, because I think Kyrie tried something similar, but Lou Williams was the first guy to have his two living girlfriends. Lou Williams said, "I'm not suppressing. This is what I'm doing. Either you part of the team or you're not." But fans, I want to thank you, SB, for always being a part of the show. I just wanted to hit you guys with a quick brief content on some of my thoughts. Again, talked about the Ja Morant suspension, talked about the Bradley Beal trade going to Phoenix Suns, and then your Father's Day. Go ahead, hit us up on Twitter. What is the best lesson? And you guys share it with me on Twitter. I'll share it on Tuesday. What is the best lesson you learned from your father? What's the lesson everybody should know that your father taught you? Again, the best lesson I learned was who not to be, and don't follow that path. What is the best lesson that you guys learned from your father, and that you think everybody should know? So thank you guys for your time. Again, Lou Williams. We talked about Lou and how you will remember Lou Williams. Again, fans, thank you for your time. As always, hit us up. Look for us on Tuesday night. We'll have a full episode with our numbers game, this week in history, and our quote segment. So we'll give you a full gamut on Tuesday night. I just want to hit you guys with some content today, and again, touch on a few topics that were pretty fresh on my mind. So again, thank you, fans, for tuning in. As always, I want to thank you guys for making our voice your choice. Have a good day. Enjoy your Father's Day, fans.